Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, Wednesday night edition. I got a couple stories to tell. Gonna be a relatively short video, but in the end, my new bead locks are here. I mounted up one of the Mickey Thompson ET Street 31 1850 15 tires. Right next to my right ear, I've circled a hole in the tread. These are well-used tires. I just want them for mock-up. Looks like I gotta take it all back apart and put a patch in the tread if I want to be able to use it to roll them around. But they did serve to show me that I nailed the backspace on the wheel, the size. They're a whole lot easier to get off and on the car than the 1736 16s. At this point, due to circumstances I'm about to explain, I still had to take the shock bolts out and let the rear end down. That's okay. I hope in practice with the drive shaft connected, I'll have enough room to do that. I don't mind taking the lower shock bolts out. Ultimately, I won't have to do that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to. So, let's tell the rest of the story. I'm going to save the boxes, the rear boxes anyway, so I can send my 16 by 16 wheels to get bead locked. So I'll dismount those, put them in the boxes, and they'll be ready when the time comes. I bought these direct from Race-Star. They're still having a sale. You get an additional 10% off your order if you sign up for the mailing list on their website, I guess. So I did. That saved another $220, I believe. The wheels are about $1,100 a piece. A lot of money, but I honestly thought they were made in America. Made in USA. They're not. Made in China. The quality's fine. All the reviews I read, they're on some really high dollar cars that I see out there. Such is life, I guess. The surprising part was the matching front wheels are about $600 a piece. I just went on Summit Racing, picked out a black 5-spoke style wheel for $137, also made in China. When you open this box, it really presents like it's quality. I know it's crazy, also made in China, but I mean, they're both packaged fine. Could even be made in the same place, I don't know. But I'm not ashamed of the front wheels. Again, I wish they were made in America, but this was a cost-driven purchase, and we all know that's not always the right thing to do, but sometimes it's the thing to do. So that's a whole nother subject. But on to my complaints. Well, not really complaints, but my story about being dumb. I posted a video last Friday night where I was mounting up some Mickey Thompson Sportsmans on some old stock car wheels that were actually 15 by 14, 5-on-5 bolt pattern with the proper backspace. And I was going to paint them black, and those would be another street-driven option. And I couldn't get the bead to mount up. I included a picture. It's about 3 inches down. And the blast feature of my tire machine isn't that great. I don't have yet one of the blasting devices. And in the past, literally, I don't know, a lot of times, I've used starting fluid, light it, it pops it on the rim, no sweat. I didn't do it Friday night because it was already dark, and I just had a feeling, because I know now I was right, but at the time you ignore it. I had to go on a small trip Saturday, but Saturday afternoon, evening, I'm back at the house, and I decide I'm going to roll that wheel and tire outside. I propped it up so the bottom bead was touching, filled it full of starting fluid, and like a genius, I thought, instead of holding the propane torch in my hand, that's kind of dumb, that's a bomb, right? So I have a piece of 1/2-inch tubing under the bench about yay long. I take a small piece of oily rag, wrap it around the end. I have it all prepared before I put the starting fluid inside the tire. if you're wicked smart or smarter than me at the moment, you've already picked up where I went wrong. So, I spray the starting fluid in the tire, I turn around, I light the oily rag. Now I'm like Rambo in the cave, you know what I mean? In the rat cave. I reach over to put it near, the edge of the wheel, and you hear a tremendous, woof noise. The fire went up the tubing. Now, often, very often, when I fabricate metal and stuff, I tell you how I wear these gloves. Well, I was wearing a pair of these. That piece of tubing ended right here in my palm. My palm is not burnt. The glove was burnt. My shirt was all black from the fire that came up that chimney. No damage, not burnt, but previously that week, I twisted my foot a little bit. I hobbled for a couple days and forgot about it. Well, I turned instinctively to get away from the fire, and whatever I did to that foot, I did it 10 times worse. I mean, I had trouble walking up to the house. That was Saturday afternoon. Sunday, I didn't go very far. I actually have a cane that I bought at a car show. I bought my son, who was really small at the time, a little metal car he could sit on. It had wheels, obviously. And I was leaning over to push it, and he saw a cane. There was a little swap meet there. Paid $5 for this beautiful cane. And I could stand up and just push on the back of the car, and we thought it was kind of funny. We've used it on Halloween. He dressed up as an old man, I think, and he, does the old man imitation with the cane sometimes. It's kind of funny. Wasn't so funny on Sunday and Monday when I had to use it to get around. But by Tuesday, yesterday, still a little sore, but I was able to finally work in the shop. Now, again, I was gone all day Saturday. Wasn't here down in the shop very long Saturday night before I was dumb and hurt myself. Couldn't do anything Sunday, Monday. I'm going crazy because I, like to be down here doing stuff. So yesterday I was able to hobble around, do some small things. Today I had to go to my mother's house, do a little work on her oil tanks for her furnace. Went across the street to see a friend of mine, and then I went just a block or two over to see a guy I went to, we started in kindergarten together. I hadn't talked to him in 20-something years, but he saw me on YouTube. We reconnected a week or so ago, and he told me he'd bought a couple of really fabulous cars, and I wanted to check them out. So I did. I went over to his house. He has a Baldwin Motion Corvette, which is pretty unique and rare. And he also has a 70.5 Z28 that has an LS7 in it. And he wanted to go drive them both. I drive one, he drives the other. But the Corvette wasn't running quite right, so we take off in the Camaro. He's driving. And just going for a nice cruise, not a hell ride or anything. We already covered that before we took off. I don't need that. I'm not young anymore. I get more sense than I did when I was a kid, so we're just going to go for a cruise. And a few minutes in, he pulls over. He wants me to drive the Camaro. He told me it had a dual disc clutch. It's got an M20 1 or 2 in it. So we swap sides. I push the clutch in, and all of a sudden I can feel it in my foot that it's probably not going to work, but I'm going to try it. It only hurts mildly, and I'm making up for my discomfort by holding my ankle in a different spot. We took off. By the time I shifted into third, my ankle made a popping noise. Now, this is above the damage I did the other day. And I popped it neutral, had to coast into a side street and explain why I can't drive it anymore. I really appreciate the offer, but I was a passenger for the rest of our ride. And it made me think on the way home, I'm fortunate. I've always tried to be careful and not be too dumb, because it's kind of, there's a reason why women live longer than men. Darwinism, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, I did it to myself. When I hurt my foot a couple weeks ago, that started this whole mess. I was jumping off a plastic milk crate, which is dumb. The moral of the story is, I think John Wayne said it the best. If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. And I'm not being real tough. I'm whining because my foot hurts. And now my ankle. But when I got home this afternoon, my bead locks were here, and adrenaline took me through mounting the first one. It takes a little bit of time. The bolts that hold the bead lock rings on have a conical washer and, well, a male and a female conical washer, and you have to put never-sees on every one of them. There's no extra in the package. They give you, you know, whatever, 36 total of everything. So fortunately the count was right on the first wheel. I haven't mounted up beadlock wheels in 10 years, but it comes back to you. Tim McCamus has a really good video if you want to bone up on it, but basically you push the wheel inside the tire. Actually, I push the tire over the wheel. I prefer to do it that way. Pretty much falls in, and then you have to actually lift the bead up over the other side of the rim, and you just center it and start all your nuts and bolts and gently work your way down in a star pattern. I go star. I don't go like all the way down to tight because you got to suck up about 125 thousandths or so. You know, I go crisscross, and then I'll maybe a gentle circle, and then crisscross again. And, you know, then there's the actual torque spec, which is just across from each other for all 18 and 19 bolts per side. And I had only just gone snug. I hadn't torqued them up because, like I say, those tires were just temporary. But I guess I'll look the second one over a little more. I did not see this little pinhole, but it's there, and it'll probably be flat by morning. But I'm just happy it's got the look I was looking for. It's important that car has giant wheel wells, giant wheel openings. I didn't want to build a second rear end because I like my floater rear end, so the offset in these is what saved the whole process. These are 3-inch offset. I almost went with 2, and I'm glad I didn't because it's perfect. It fits in the wheel well perfect. It looks correct, and I can go all the way up in and they won't hit the inner fender, so life is good. And the front tires were some skinny Firestones. They're brand new. They've been around a while, but again, this is just for mock-up, and it looks good in all black. So, and I know the wheels don't exactly match, but again, the matching front wheels to go with these were like $600 and change. These were $137 a piece. And come to find out, both made in China, and it'll be fine. So that's my story. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you soon. Take her easy.